What is up, everyone? In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to defeat the Chaos Shadows, aka the open world boss in Dragonheir Silent Gods on the fire element and reach the highest milestone, score the 22 million damage with a team that's as low budget as possible, guys. Okay, we're gonna use only one legendary, and that is the free legendary Erich that every single one of you guys will get once you are completing the first half of the campaign. So if you go right here to one step ahead, once you defeat the Violent Dragon for the first time, you will collect Erich as a free legendary. So all of you guys will gain access to this. But let me just quickly show you the team and explain you everything that you need to know. So positioning will be very, very important if you want to reach the 22 million damage without using the most OP legendary champions in the game. How you may see, we are running Tunnelman, we are running Foley, we are running, of course, no one else but Erich, the free legendary, we're running Adolphus, and we are running Isolde as the tank, guys. Now, positioning here is very important against Oster because we are going to basically make him use the AoE only on the tank and Tunnelman. Very similar with how we're doing it in the Grave of Venom dungeon. I showed you that positioning in a video ages ago. Basically, he has this passive that has a chance to land Frost. The battle skill fires 3 arrows that have a 50% chance to ignore defense. Now, this right here might be a thing that will cause you to don't reach the 22 million damage consistently because it does the same to me. So I have to retry this probably 2, 3, 4, 5 times every time when I'm doing it, because usually if this 50% chance procs back to back on his 2 hits towards the end, he kills my Isolde, and that ends a bit prematurely. But if it doesn't, I'm safe, you know, and I'm going all the way to 23, 24 million, 25. But it really depends on this RNG, so you might have to retry it a couple of times. I'm just making you guys aware of it to know that that's the reason why it might fail. Then he has this AoE. So if you are basically checking all the points that he covers with these, and if you are putting 2 heroes that are melee to basically distract him in this corner, he will not hit your other 3 champions from these corners. And you can make them as squishy as you want, give them as much damage as possible, just to go in and wreck the boss. That's the whole idea. We do have a bit of a preset right here, guys, and basically you have Erich, who will have either the Crown of the Unclean artifact, either the Witch's Remains, whatever you guys have available, and that will land defense down. You want him to do it because he has multi-hits. Either him, either Foley, honestly. Foley being this epic champion at the bottom. Then you have the Nukers. You have, of course, Tunnelman. You have Foley going after and using their ultimates, dropping a lot of damage. And then you have Isolde using the ultimate before Adolphus. So when Adolphus is using the shield on her, she's actually going to gain some healing as well. But this is what I have for a timing. All of them, they are fully scrolled. So keep that in mind. I decided to fully scroll my Erich because he actually brought in a lot of value to my team all around. Now, when we're talking about auras, guys, you only have 2 different options. Either you have crit damage from Foley if you're using that. And if your team is surviving just fine, you can use that. But just because I want to make sure that my Isolde is not going to get hammered by the A3 from the boss, I'm going to go with the defense aura that will help my Tunnelman as well, just to tank a bit longer. And another thing to keep in mind, the 5-man elemental affinity is pretty damn important, guys. Try to either replace the tank with Flurbart if you want, if you're struggling, or use maybe a Horus if you have him, of course, leveled up, because he's a free champion. Now, most probably it will make your life a bit more difficult if you don't have Isolde. She just tends to tank a bit better with the shield, the increased defense, etc. This is my elemental affinity. You see I have the 39% attack, is almost max for me on the fire poison. So this is very, very important. You will have some alliance buffs in this Otherworld event as well, basically. So make sure you are in a fairly decent alliance that is active, so you guys are able to unlock buffs. But that being said, let's jump over to do a run, and then I'm going to show you the builds on all of the heroes. And here we go, guys. Let's see the team in action. So basically, Isolde and Tunnelman will distract the boss. So the boss will constantly focus only those 2 champions. Isolde will drop the attack down. If I would have another champion that drops attack down in here, this would be much easier because I won't have to worry so much about the basic skills. You know, the boss has 2 basic skills, how you may see. The arrow ones, which ignore defense, both of them. So if both of them proc the 50% chance to ignore 100% of the target's defense. Towards the end of the fight, the boss might kill my Isolde early. So that's why I find that I tend to have to retry the run a couple of times. So just so you guys know as well, if it happens to you, having the hero scrolled is very, very important. Another thing to be aware of. But even if you don't manage to hit the 22 million damage, you will probably manage to improve your regular team that was not doing so good before, and you might be able to reach the next milestone or get closer to it, and then you're going to notice kind of like what else you need to improve. This team deals a very high amount of damage per second, basically. You know, Tunnel Nun, Erich, and even Foley. How you may notice, Foley is out-damaging Erich at the moment. Of course, it does have the defense down artifact, which makes a bit of a difference. So Foley will have a slightly better build all around in terms of dealing damage, more attack and stuff. Or at least I think she has. I can't really remember. The boss lands the frost on you, can be pretty nasty. Now, I've heard possibilities of using, instead of Adolphus, Vikak to cleanse that and give you some extra healing. But manual. Now, personally, I haven't tried that. I haven't tried Vikak in here, and I'll be honest, from all my experience so far where I've tried Vikak, instead of using Adolphus, it didn't work as well. It was always harder to do, you know? So keep that in mind. You might need some fancy legendary artifacts on them. You see, we lost Isolde, but literally as we reached 22 million damage. So we cannot complain about it whatsoever. And was pretty fast. It didn't took us a long time, but you've seen how none of the back heroes from the corners got hit. Only after our two champions at the front died, you know? And is a pretty good damage, man. Pretty good damage to have 23.6 million, okay? Without using Flurbart as a tank in here. Without Flora or any crazy champions, you do have, of course, Tonelin with 9.1 million damage. You have Erich with 5.4, and then you have Foley with 7.1. So the Epic puts in some very, very good work. But let me quickly show you the stats on the champions. Most of them are built on a Gambler set, at least the 3 damage dealers. They need a Gambler set in order to drop that extra damage on. Foley, for whatever reason, they messed her name up. Here she's Rafi, but her real name is Foley. I've seen her passport, basically. So her total stats, 43k HP, which doesn't really matter, the HP and the defense, because she's not going to get hit, how you've seen, only at the end where the rest of them are dead, you know? Almost 4k attack, 84 crit rate, 170 crit damage. Now, I would love to get more attack, to get more crit rate, more crit damage, you know, that would benefit her even more. I would drop crazier damage, and if I could use a different artifact instead of the Arcane Music Box, would be absolutely amazing. But unfortunately, that's what I have available in order to give me a decent amount of crit rate on her, you know? And she's pretty interesting because this skill right here on a single enemy basically can hit 3 times, dealing like 1,260 attack damage, you know, multiplier with this. So it's actually pretty nice. Then, of course, you have Tonelin. She does have the Eyeball of the Giant, and total stats on her. Again, the HP and the defense doesn't really matter. Almost 5k attack, 82 crit rate. She doesn't need more than 80. 168 crit damage. Once her passive is going to stack, she's going to get 100% more crit damage, sorry. And yeah, pretty much that's about it on Tonelin. And as our tank, we had Isolde, and she is built as well on a different set. So surprisingly, for probably quite a few of you guys, she is not built on an Ancestral Protection set or something like that. She's actually built on a Rat set, because the wearer gains healing by 40% attack when launching a basic attack. Now, I used to have her before on a Radiance of the Blue Oak set, okay? And I'll be honest with you guys, I was struggling to reach the 22 plus million damage more like this, because sometimes she just needed a bit of extra healing, and she didn't have enough time to survive in order to use the ultimate skill to get that extra healing from there. And because of it, unfortunately, she was just not cutting it off, you know? So I decided to give her a go in this set and see how it plays out. And surprisingly, is actually not too bad, you know, not too bad. She doesn't have insane attack, but 2.2k attack, so total stats, 79k HP, 3.2k defense, 2.3k attack, you know, and yes, you do need to have accuracy on her. Now, my accuracy is only at 181, guys, because I have the 5-man elemental affinity that gives me 50. Then I have the alliance bonus that gives me around 50 or something like that as well. So that takes me close to the amount of accuracy that I need, you know. But most probably, if you guys are in an active alliance, you know, if you're not just wasting time in a dead alliance, you're gonna have the stats too. So it's not something that is privileged just to me or to other players. Basically, you just need an active alliance that are constantly doing the content, you know. And that's how the tank is. We do have the scarab on her, of course, just to give her an extra push when needed, a bit of skill haste to make her use the skills as often as possible. Then we have Adolphus, and basically he is built on a Radiance of the Blue Oak set, and we have total stats on him: 48k HP, 2.7k defense, 458 enlightenment, and the rest doesn't really matter on him. Now, I could probably attempt to give him some damage just to increase it as well, but I feel like it's not a necessity, you know. And I do have on him, of course, the Antinias Tiara artifact, which will increase the value of shield, give me more enlightenment. Then we have our legendary, Erich. Keep in mind, all of them are fully scrolled. He is built on a gambler set, guys. Total stats, we have roughly 44k HP. The defense doesn't matter again. 4.1k attack, 83 crit rate, 170 crit damage, 240 accuracy. Is a bit of an overkill on the accuracy, and that's because I have the Witch's Remains on him. But if you are using, for example, the Crown of the Unclean, you still need to have around 200 accuracy, similar with the other ones. And try to give him, if you can, even more attack, even more crit rate, crit damage. That will make him deal more damage. Now, if you are using the Crown of the Unclean over the Witch's Remains, because I know this is a legendary artifact, is harder to get, you will probably lose a bit of the damage, okay? The reason why you want to have this artifact on Erich, for example, is because of his ultimate skill. Summons 5 meteorites. So basically, he hits the target 5 times, each hit having a chance of landing the defense down. Each hit having a 75% chance, or respectively a 60, to basically land the defense down. Much, much better. That's why you want him to go before the other nukers. That will increase your damage across the entire board, you know? But that was all for today's video, guys. Hopefully you found it helpful. Keep your eyes open for the next video tomorrow, which will be on the Poison team. Very similar with this, even more budget, even more free-to-play friendly, because we only have 2 epics and 3 rare champions. So definitely stay tuned for that. And by the time you're seeing this video, I'll be live on Twitch TV, guys. Head over to the link in the description down below if you want to join me there. We have the drops active to be able to collect your in-game loot. That's going on at the moment in collaboration with Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to try a few different teams for Earth to the Baller. And of course, we're going to do our Poison team on stream. So you're going to get to see it a bit earlier. Appreciate every single one of you guys watching. And I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.